Shalom. So this is Genesis chapter 4 and verse 1. And we're going to talk about knowing a person. Because we use the word, but because we process our thoughts in English, and English gives a different definition from the intention of the Bible. Alright? So it says, and Adam knew Eve his wife. So the Most High gave a set of instructions how to go about dealing with a wife. So we're just going to look at this word in the English just to have an idea of how it is, right? And we're going to see various definitions, right? So here it says, one, to perceive the truth or factuality of, to be certain of. All right? So this is really going into a perception, basically, a perception of the truth, right? So it doesn't mean it's necessarily the truth, but a perception of. All right? Now, number two, it says to be aware of. Yes, you have an idea, right? So it's just like I can say, I know the president, Joe Biden, but do I really know Joe Biden or do I know of him? You understand? So this is why sometimes we use our idea of a person and then we actually think we know the person. It's just a perception, right? Number three, it says to be acquainted or familiar with. So you see, as it says, you're familiar with the idea of something and you actually think you know the person or whatever that thing is, right? Like, for example, okay, I can ask you if you know Joe Biden. You know the US president, of course, right? You know of him, you're familiar, but do you really know him? Do you know what he likes to do in his spare time? Do you know what type of fruits he likes? Do you know if he likes gardening? You don't know the person. But this is how we think in English. But here, number four gives us a more accurate answer. It says to experience, right? So when you know someone by experience, it changes everything, right? So when we go back to the scriptures, and it says, and Adam knew Eve, this knowing is more than just having an idea of a person. You be around the person, you see the person from morning right through the day until night, everything. So you see the other sides of that person. You see different characters that the person displays in different situations, right? So you know that it's like you have a child. You know your child, right? You know the choices. You know what they do when they are wrong. Like, okay, the child is running to the other parent. You can tell that, okay, the child did something wrong, or the child is extremely quiet. So you know the child so much. You understand? You know that, okay, the child ate a few hours ago. You know that the child is hungry now. Even if the child doesn't come to you and say, mommy or daddy, I'm hungry, you know the child that much. So it's the same way when you know your wife. You understand? You know the person, you regard the person, you respect. You understand? You acknowledge the control, the authority. Because using the word control, people get a different way when they hear the word control. So it's that authority, right? So it's the same way when the woman knows the man, what? She acknowledges the man, she respects, right? And what? It's a form of yielding because she knows that, okay, the man is in a higher authority. It's just like you're at work. You know your director or your manager is, the authority. You acknowledge it, right? So you don't try to go outside of it. Now, this knowing, let me just go to the English for a while. In English, knowing, the opposite of that would be like being ignorant of something. So if you don't know something, you're ignorant of. It's not the same in this sense, right? So the opposite of this knowing, it wouldn't be ignorant of the person, but it would be more that you don't regard the person. You understand? So if you know that this person is here in your presence, you know that certain things you would not do. I'm not gonna go out of the person's presence, just in the presence, right? You regard the person so much, or you honor or respect the authority that the person has over your life so much that you would not dare step above that, right? So the opposite of this knowing would be like rebel against the person, basically, right? So this is why you see a lot in our relationships today. What happens? The woman, is not that they don't know the man is the head, but guess what? They don't regard the man that much. They don't yield to the authority of the man, and this is why they do what they do, right? So it's not that they don't know. It's not that there's something wrong with the scriptures why they can't perceive that the man is the head. It's the same thing with Eve. There's nothing new under the sun. They know the authority, but they rebel or they don't regard it. This is why it says in Ephesians the woman should only take counseling from the husband. But today they take counsel from everybody else except the husband. The lawyers, the doctors, the teachers, the pastors, everything in society. And those are the prophets of the serpent, because the serpent today is the system, right? And those are their prophets. They are the ones our women listen to. They don't regard us. They don't rebel against the system. They follow it diligently. They're very obedient to it. They don't do that with their husband. And this is the type of knowing that he's talking about. Because when you know a person by experience, as I said, you really have an intimate relationship with them, right? You have an intimate relationship with them. You know their choices and things of that nature. So this is what it means. You really see into it. You see that person, you observe them, you know them by observation. It's not just knowing an idea of the person. And this is why sometimes we get so broken-hearted in our relationships, because we have an idea of a person, we project that onto them, and then when we are not seeing it in the person, we feel broken inside. We're not broken because of the person. It's just our own imagination of the person or our own idea of the person, right? So when you know something, it comes with a belief, and that belief is confirmed by an action. So you act upon what you know about the person, right? It's an action comes with it. So the woman knows the authority the man has. She's going to act in regards to that authority. You don't step outside of it. You don't rebel against that. The man knows the authority he has over her life is the same thing. You know what to do. There's a proper way of doing it, and you act upon that. So the woman, just like if your child is stepping out of line, what do? You correct the child, even if the child runs to the mother. If you have to spank the child or whatever you need to do to correct the situation, to make sure the child gets it so he does not repeat it, you apply it in that moment. It's the same thing it should be with the woman. You know the woman is trying to bring um what's it called, Easter in your house. She's trying to bring Christmas in your house. You don't just remain quiet or just allow her to do that, because you as the man is also doing what? Disregarding your head, which is the Most High. You are disregarding the authority that the Most High has over you by allowing the woman to do something that you know that is wrong, right? So you see, it's not that Adam sinned in the way that Eve really did. It was not really Adam that did that, but Adam should have done something and he did not do it. So he also disregarded the claim that the Most High has had over him. And this is what a lot of us men do today. We love to get approval from women. We see them doing wrong, and you know what? we enable it. We encourage them to do the wrong, or even if we see them do the wrong, we pretend as if we don't see it because we do it to get a form of like from them. We seek their approval instead. So they also lose respect for us. We lose respect for ourselves, they lose respect for us, and then we're wondering why our women don't respect us. First, we as men, we have to stand up for something we believe in, and when we believe in that, we act upon it. All right? So this is what it means to actually know a person. Shalom.